Good afternoon, Penn Staters, and thank you for joining us. I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's virtual speaker session, which is being recorded. We're encouraging you to participate into today's discussion based on the features made available in the audience console. You can view slides, hear the presenter via the main stage, submit questions to the presenter through the Q&A box, view closed captions, and much more. This afternoon, we welcome Dr. John Mauro, Professor of Material Science and Engineering at Penn State. From glass windows and containers to lenses and optical fibers, glass has proven to be one of the most important materials for enabling the development of contemporary human civilization. Owing to this indelible impact of glass on modern society, it has been proposed that we are now living in the glass age. The positive influence of glass on our world continues to grow as new glass products and processes are developed to address global challenges in energy, the environment, healthcare, information and communication technology, and more. In this presentation, we peer into the glass ball, not the crystal ball, but we look right into the glass ball to predict some of the future advances in glass and technology that promise to address many of these grand challenges. Our speaker today, Dr. Mauro, earned his BS in Glass Science Engineering, a BA in Computer Science, and a Ph.D. in Glass Science, all from Alfred University. He joined Corning Incorporated in 1999 and is co-inventor on several commercial glass products. Dr. Mauro joined the faculty at Penn State in 2017 and is a world-recognized expert in glass science, condensed matter physics, thermodynamics, and kinetics, and the topology of disordered networks. Dr. Mauro is a fellow of the National Academy of Inventors, the American Ceramic Society. He's a member of the National Academy of Engineers and the Society of Glass Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Mauro.
Thank you so much, Paul, for the introduction, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. So I'm going to share my presentation here. I'll share my screen. All right, the topic of today's presentation is the future of glass. I'd like to share with you about the importance of glass in bringing us to where we are today in terms of our modern civilization, as well as discuss some of the ideas of how glass can keep changing our world and hopefully keep improving society. So first, let me start with this article that was published just a few years ago. This was in 2018 in the Atlantic magazine called Humankind's Most Important Material. Glass has changed the world like no other substance, but people usually overlook it. And I think this is really interesting because most of the time people are used to seeing through glass. We see through our glass windows, we see whatever's on the other side without paying attention to the glass itself. And in this article, the author made the case, I think justifiably so, that over the course of human civilization, we have defined the various epochs in which we're living based on the materials that have had the most influence on our technology and our civilization, whether it's the Stone Age or the Bronze Age or the Iron Age. Nowadays, of course, thanks to the work of so many thousands of material scientists and engineers, we have all kinds of materials, and arguably glass has been one of the most influential, if not the most influential, in our everyday lives. So when we consider glass as a key enabler for modern civilization and scientific discovery, there's so many uses for glass in our everyday lives, whether it is things we take for granted, like the glass windows that we look out of. This is the way for us to see outside our offices and our homes to allow the natural sunlight in while keeping out the harsh cold or the harsh elements of rain and snow. Glasses, of course. Could you imagine going through life without being able to have your eyesight corrected if you had nearsightedness or farsightedness? Telescopes. So the glass lenses that were used for telescopes were key in opening up the entire field of astronomy. So it was no longer just things that people could see with the naked eye, but things that we can see up close, much farther away. So this is an example of glass enabling an entire scientific field. Another example of glass enabling a scientific field are the invention of microscopes and the glass lenses used in microscopes, which enabled the discovery of microscopic organisms and the entire field of microbiology. All of that owes its existence to these glass lenses. Then there are glasses for pharmaceutical applications. So, of course, with the recent pandemic, there's been a lot of discussions around vaccines and so on, and how can we ensure that the vaccines are going to be safely stored so that when they're injected, we know that there's no contamination in them. And having glass vials with very high mechanical strength and very high corrosion resistance is key, not only for the COVID-19 vaccinations, but for other vaccines and other medicines as part of our healthcare. Glass optical fibers connect the world. So right now, as I'm speaking, all of this information is being encoded and transmitted at the speed of light over these ultra-thin glass optical fibers. So this is what has enabled the invention of the internet and brought the world into the information age. And this would not be possible without these very thin strands of glass used to transport all of this information via light. And then, of course, there's the display of information, whether it is your television or your computer monitor or your smartphone screen or tablet screen. We need to be able to display that information. And so all of these displays are made up of multiple sheets of glass. So both for the transmission and the display of information, glass has been key. And of course, there are these computers that we all carry around in our pockets now, the smartphones, each of which have multiple pieces of glass, including the famous Gorilla Glass that is on the cover of the smartphones. So nowadays, glass is one of the primary means by which we interact with the device itself. Because with smartphones, we're not touching a mouse or a keyboard, we're interacting with this computing device by touching the glass cover itself. And then finally, glasses for transportation, whether it is airplane cockpit windows or train windows or automobile windows. It's so important to have a material that is optically transparent so we can see through it, but also mechanically strong to protect us in case of an accident. So these are just some of the ways that glass has transformed human society over the past several hundred years and brought us to where we are today in the information age. In recognition of this amazing impact of glass on our international community, I was part of an international effort to petition the United Nations to declare this year, 2022, as the International Year of Glass. This was a huge worldwide effort with hundreds of people involved, and I'm happy to report that it has been approved by the United Nations General Assembly, and this year, 2022, is the official UN International Year of Glass. So we're really excited that the United Nations has chosen to highlight glass in this way, and this is the first of any type of material that has been highlighted with an official United Nations International Year. So looking forward, if we are now in the glass age, what can glass do for us or continue to do for us? It can inform us with displays. It can connect us and connect the world with optical fiber. It can heal us with pharmaceutical glasses and bioactive glasses. It can protect us when it comes to our transportation. It can even clothe us in terms of fabrics that are like smart fabrics that have sensors on them that can give you real-time feedback about health, for example. It can house us with architectural glass. It can power us with new glasses that are being developed for renewable energy, such as glasses for photovoltaic solar cells. And it's starting to enhance our reality with the combination of glasses that are used for augmented reality and virtual reality. So these are just some of the ways that glass is helping to enable the glass age going forward. Now, this is a photo that my family and I took on a family vacation a few years ago in Paris. So if you go just beside where the Notre Dame Cathedral is, there is the Sainte-Chapelle building. This was built by King Louis IX of France, better known as Saint Louis. And he built this because he had purchased the crown of thorns that Jesus wore at the crucifixion from the Eastern Roman Empire, and built this beautiful building to house and honor that crown of thorns. And this was kept in there up until recently, when it was transferred to Notre Dame Cathedral. But St. Louis wanted to design a building that was not only safe for storage, but also a beautiful piece of art that was worthy of storing this precious artifact. And so if you go inside this chapel, this Sainte-Chapelle here, it's like being inside this beautiful work of art with these very tall stained glass windows all around you, where each one of these is an intricate story that's being told from different books of the Bible. And this was built like 900 years ago and is still standing and still doing great, which is a testament to the longevity of glass. But I bring this up because as scientists and engineers, we often think about materials in terms of what they can offer us from an engineering point of view or from a scientific point of view. But we also need to recognize the huge impact of materials on our culture and on our art. And glass has played a key role in that, not only in these stained glass windows, but in stained glass windows around the world and in various cathedrals. There's a wonderful tradition of glass in the Islamic world as well. And glass has really been a key as a medium for artistic expression. And part of that is all the different beautiful colors that glass can take on and the beautiful shapes that it can take on. I can say as a young child, this is what captured my heart initially with glass and made me want to study glass is this seemingly infinite beauty and the number of shapes and colors that glass can take on. And so I bring this up to emphasize the important cultural contributions of glass, as well as its scientific and engineering contributions. So my advisor and I, when we were writing our textbook on glass science, put out a survey to almost 100 experts. We had 91 responses from experts in the field of glass to ask them to rank what are some of the products and processes related to glass that have had the greatest impact on humankind. And the things that floated to the top were things like glass lenses for ophthalmics, for microscopes, telescopes, optical fiber for the internet, glass windows for architecture. Everything that's colored in blue here is a glass product. And then everything that is colored in red is an industrial process that has helped to enable that product. For example, this Pilkington float process is the process by which all architectural glass is made today. It's made by floating these thin sheets of glass over a bath of molten tin. It's an amazing process. And this was invented back in the 1960s. And that's why you see older homes that were built like before the mid-1960s tended to have much smaller windows compared to homes that were starting to be built in the 70s. And it was this invention of the Pilkington float process that enabled that. There's also things like glass light bulb envelopes, glass containers, laboratory glasses, just so many amazing contributions in terms of the products and the processes. And when we look at all of these as a whole, there are a few common themes that emerge. One is the importance of optical transparency. So even though many glasses are not optically transparent, you can make opaque glasses just as easily as you can make transparent glasses. The optical transparency of most glasses that we are familiar with has played a key role in their application. So, of course, glass lenses need to be transparent, optical fiber, glass windows, all of these rest on having a high degree of optical clarity. Mechanical strength is another big issue. So glasses are strong. Of course, they still break, and a large part of my research has been devoted to how we can develop new glass compositions and processes to improve their strength. But the relative strength of glasses has also been key for their applications, so that they can be used for many, many years without breaking. Chemical durability as well. So having windows, for example, that can withstand rain, including acid rain, and not develop any type of corrosion layer on the surfaces of the glasses. That chemical durability is really key for those applications, as well as more high-tech applications like pharmaceutical vials. Another common theme is that although there are so many different types of glass chemistries available, the ones that have had the biggest impact on humanity have been silicate glasses. These are glasses where the primary ingredient is silica sand. Part of this is, of course, because of the abundance of silica sand on Earth, but as well as the great properties that it offers, including all of these three properties here. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey in glass. So I grew up in upstate New York, in Allegheny County, which is in Western New York, about 90 miles south of Rochester. And glass is kind of in the air there with Alfred University and Corning nearby. And I first fell in love with glass when my parents took me to the Corning Museum of Glass, which I definitely recommend for anyone who's interested. I wanted to see every single piece of glass in the museum. I fell in love with it then. I was also really into computer programming and made my own computer games for fun. And so I wanted to do something that would combine those two loves. So I ended up going to my friendly hometown university, Alfred University, and doing a double major in computer science and glass engineering science, with the idea of somehow combining those two together. So either using computers to help design models to understand glasses better, or developing glass components to help improve computing. From there, I started at Corning Incorporated in 1999, and initially as a summer intern. I was in a modeling and simulation department there for 11 years, and then switched to an experimental group, class research department, for 7 years. So there at Corning, I got to work with so many other people who just genuinely love glass, and we developed a lot of new understanding and new products based on our knowledge of the physics and chemistry of glasses, including, of course, the more recent Gorilla Glass products, which have helped enable modern day smartphones. So from there in 2017, my family and I decided that we wanted to make the move to academia. And looking around at the various universities, we're also grateful with what we found here at Penn State. And that it's such a wonderful combination of absolutely outstanding academics and research and wonderful colleagues and wonderful students, all in a community that is so warm and inviting, and has such a wonderful sense of community spirit like I had never even experienced before. And so we very quickly got part of the NITME Nation, and really feel the warmth that this community has offered. So we're all very grateful to be here at Penn State now. This is a fraction of my research group. This was, of course, taken during the pandemic, so several people were unavailable for the photo. But my group consists of, at this point, 24 students who are basically evenly split between modeling and simulation aspects of glass science and experimental glass science. So in my lab, we have 3 high temperature melting furnaces for synthesizing glasses to discover new glass compositions. We've got experimental characterization equipment, and we've got a wide range of computer programs that were either used by the group, or several of which were developed by the group to help with the modeling and understanding of glass. And all of these students are just so passionate about glass, and I consider it a great great honor to be able to work with them. So if we go back in time, the origin of the word glass actually is derived from a late Latin term, glacium, and glacium from the Latin means lustrous or transparent material. So the word glass itself is implying this optical transparency. Other words that are used to describe glasses include the word vitreous. So a vitreous material is the same thing as a glassy material. And this also comes from the Latin. This comes from the Latin vitrum, which means transparent or clear. And another word that's used incorrectly is amorphous, which comes from the Greek amorph, which means without form or shape. Some people will incorrectly describe glass as an amorphous material. They're actually two thermodynamically distinct types of material, which is something I try to emphasize in my classes. But regardless, the near transparency, luster, or shine of glasses, and also its durability when exposed to the elements of nature, were some of the most prized properties of glasses, even going back to early civilizations. And archaeologists have found glass stone beads from Egypt that date back to 12,000 BC. And there were several artifacts unearthed from the tombs of the pharaohs that exhibit glass inlays as well. So glass has been an important part of human civilization for many thousands of years. This is the earliest recorded or the earliest record of glassmaking, which comes from about 3,300 years ago in Mesopotamia, so what is now modern day Iraq. And this is actually kind of an amusing quote about what you need to do in order to have successful glass melting. And it's full of superstition, like having a favorable month for a propitious day. Then you have to put up kubu images, so some sort of religious images. You have to perform libation offerings. Then you have to do a sheep sacrifice before the kubu images, pour out a libation of honey and butter, and only then light up the kiln. So even back then, people knew how tricky it could be to make glasses, because if you're off on either the raw materials that you use or the temperature you use, you could get a completely different result than what you're expecting, because even small changes in the glass chemistry can completely change the nature of the resulting product that you get. This is another interesting early example. This is from the 4th century AD. This is the famous Lycurgus cup, which is actually an example of 4th century Roman nanotechnology. So this is a glass that has silver and gold nanoparticles embedded in it, made in the 4th century. And it's what's called dichroic, meaning it can exhibit two different colors depending upon the lighting conditions. So if you're looking at the cup in reflected light, it appears to be green. And this is due to these metallic nanoparticles, the silver and gold nanoparticles being just coarse enough to reflect some of the light without eliminating all of the transmission. But if you put a light behind the cup and look at its color through the transmitted light, then it appears to be red, because the nanoparticles are preferentially scattering the blue end of the spectrum. So, of course, for those of you who are familiar with modern nanotechnology, of course, that's something that has been developed in recent decades, but presumably this was by accident. Nanotechnology existed even going back to the 4th century in this Lycurgus cup. Now, looking ahead, and what can we expect going forward in the glass age? With respect to information technology, we're going to start to see thinner devices, foldable devices, even flexible devices, and having ultra thin sheets of foldable, flexible glass is key to making that happen. And this is very difficult to achieve, because we have to make sure that the glass is thin enough to allow that flexibility, but also has the mechanical strength to survive, say, folding and unfolding many hundreds of times. But this is a technological reality at this point, and I think we're going to start to see more and more of this in the future. Augmented reality is also becoming more popular. This relies on having glass lenses that have a high refractive index to get a large amount of refraction over a small area. And this creates an image that you see superimposed in front of your actual reality. So you can get additional information about what it is that you're looking at, or I guess play Pokemon Go or something like that. But augmented reality and virtual reality will be becoming more popular, and glasses play a key role in that. When it comes to communication, one of the biggest areas is having secure communication, and quantum communication is one way to do that, where you've got signals that are quantumly entangled with each other. So basically, you cannot intercept the signal and be able to understand what it is without having that other key to it. And this relies on having optical fibers that have even lower loss compared to traditional optical fibers to make this happen. And so quantum communication and actually quantum computing are going to be one of the next big things on the communication front. Next is memory storage, and glasses offer a couple of distinct advantages over traditional magnetic memory storage, in that you can encode the information three-dimensionally into the glass, as well as the information can be stored for a much longer duration compared to magnetic memory storage. Now, when it comes to transportation and architecture, one of the themes going forward is the rise of autonomous vehicles. And if you don't have to be actively driving your car, that means that there's a lot of other opportunities for things that you might do while you're in the car, letting the car drive itself. So I think we're going to see more glass displays and more glass functionality in the interiors of cars. We're also going to see specialty glazing for the windshields and the other windows of the automobile itself, to try to reduce the weight of the vehicles without sacrificing on the mechanical performance of that automotive glazing. So this is a way to improve the fuel economy of vehicles without compromising the performance of the vehicle. Energy efficient glazing is going to be another big thing. So one of the technologies that is being developed is called vacuum insulated glazing. And instead of having a traditional two-pane window where you've got a noble gas like argon in between, you can improve the efficiency even more if you pull a vacuum. The problem is, by pulling a vacuum, that creates a stress on the glass itself. So little spacers need to be placed in. So advanced glasses need to be developed there to give improved mechanical performance in order to enable this vacuum insulated glazing to improve the energy efficiency of buildings. We're going to see more, of course, glass used in architectural applications. This is an example of the Shard, the tallest building in London, which looks like a giant shard of glass, as well as here, this glass that sticks out over the Grand Canyon. So glass is going to be used more and more in architecture, as we're seeing already. We're also going to see a greater Internet of Things. There's going to be more devices that are in your homes that are Internet enabled, or have screens or other types of functionality that will be made possible via interacting with glass or displaying information through glass. And acoustic damping glass is going to be another big factor going forward in trying to reduce the amount of noise pollution in vehicles and in architectural applications. Glass plays a big role in energy as well. So windmill turbines become more efficient as they get larger. And these windmill turbines are actually composed of fiberglass composites. And so new fiberglass compositions are being developed to enable larger, more efficient windmill turbines. There's also glass used for all types of solar energy generation, including photobioreactors, which are based on capturing chemical energy from the sun via photosynthesis. Photovoltaics, such as the solar roof here that was developed by Tesla, solar thermal energy, such as these parabolic windows developed by Schott, which take, so these mirrors are focusing the sunlight energy onto this tube, which is using it to heat up a material contained in the tube and then generating electricity. And solid state batteries are also being developed as a way to improve the safety, improve the energy storage density, and the cyclability of batteries, including work done by the original pioneer of lithium-ion batteries, Dr. John Goodenough. And finally, here in healthcare, glasses are used for pharmaceutical packaging, as I noticed. Another example is this EpiPen, that if you either have a bee allergy or know someone with a bee allergy, they may carry this around so they can inject medicine if they happen to get stung. So this needs to be strong and durable over many years. New glass surfaces are being developed that are antimicrobial, and this is especially important for hospitals because it can be dangerous to get checked into a hospital because you can pick up secondary infections there. And one of the ways to help prevent the spread of secondary infections is to have antimicrobial surfaces. So there are new glasses that have been designed with layers of silver at the surface, and that silver acts as an antimicrobial agent to help prevent the spread of diseases. And finally here, there's bioactive glasses that are used both for hard tissue repair, so this is for bones or even for teeth now, and as well as fibrous glasses that are used to help stimulate soft tissue repair, for example, in diabetic patients who have very large open wounds that do not heal over many months or even years. There are new glass fibers that have been developed by Delbert Day, who is a Penn State alumnus going all the way back to 1960, and his student here, Steve Young. And these glass fibers are packed into the open wound, and within a matter of a few weeks, they stimulate the body's natural healing process. And after the healing is done, remarkably, there is very little or no scarring afterwards. So this has been quite a breakthrough technology when it comes to soft tissue repair. So with that, I will thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn this back over to Paul to facilitate some of the Q&A part. I just want to give a shout out to my advisor here, my glass guru from Alfred University, Arun K. Varshnaya. He came down here to visit us at Penn State when we hosted our university conference on glass. And this is a photo of our textbook. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
John, thank you for that presentation. We have some questions that are coming in. This one may be a little bit more technical, so I don't know what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to ask it. So, what will the new approaches in the ion exchange? What will be the new approaches in ion exchange process? Will field-assisted ion exchange be industrialized for commercial use rather than thermal ion exchange?
Great question. I know there's been quite a bit of research being done in field-assisted ion exchange. I have not seen yet where, from an industrial point of view, it would offer advantages over the traditional thermal ion exchange, but that's not to say that there might be some additional breakthrough in the future. I think one of the biggest challenges for ion exchange going forward is going to be tailoring the stress profile within the glass, especially as we get to thinner and thinner glasses, because all of the compressive stress in the surface of the glass has to be balanced by tensile stress in the interior of the glass. And if you've got a thinner and thinner glass, then there's less area there to store the tensile energy. So it becomes really important to tailor design the stress profile to get the maximum benefit for mechanical performance within the given width that you have.
Excellent. Another question coming in here, asking about the major impacts of machine learning and glass science, and what are the problematic that needs more research in this field. So machine learning and glass sciences.
Great. That's a topic near and dear to my heart since it combines two of my loves of computer science and glass science. Thus far, machine learning has been a great tool to aid in the design of new glass compositions. So it's using machine learning, especially physics-informed machine learning, where you build in some of your physical understanding into the machine learning codes, can help to greatly improve the efficiency of composition design processes and get you a better optimized composition compared to traditional empirical methods. It's really important for people working in machine learning to work closely with experimentalists to understand experimental limitations and to make sure that that they fully grasp what are the important properties and what needs to be done from a processing point of view as well. When it comes to challenges for machine learning, one of the biggest challenges is having insufficient data, especially when we deal with many component systems. We would always like to have vastly more data than we actually have. And right now, the glass community as a whole is not as well organized as it should be around the collection of data, having a well-maintained and curated database. Another big challenge is how to extrapolate into composition spaces that have not been explored yet. And that's where it's key to build in your additional physical understanding, because machine learning models just on their own are very good at interpolation, but they tend to fail when it comes to extrapolation. If you build in physical models, then your chances of having an accurate extrapolation are improved quite a bit. So I think those are a couple of the main challenges going forward.
So a couple questions coming in about the composition of glass. So one from Christopher: does silica remain the primary component of glass, of the glass of the future?
Oh, great question. For most of the glasses up to this point that have been commercially successful and society changing, most of them have been silicates. And I believe going forward, probably most of them would continue to be silicates. That being said, that glass that I showed you that Delbert Day made for soft tissue repair, that is a borate glass rather than a silicate glass. There are also phosphate glasses that are used as laser host materials. There are chalcogenide glasses that are used for infrared transmission and night vision. There are metallic glasses that have been used in like golf clubs, for example. So there are many other exciting families of glasses that thus far have been used for more niche applications and haven't been nearly as ubiquitous as silicate glasses. They do have drawbacks, like borate glasses tend to degrade rather rapidly, but in the application of soft tissue repair, that's actually an advantage. They actually want it to dissolve over the course of a few days in the body. So I think we need to continue to look at the entire periodic table, because one of the beautiful things about glass is that we've got almost the entire periodic table at our disposal in terms of things we could potentially put into the glass. And so I think we have an obligation as glass scientists to consider the whole periodic table. But it is going to be tough to displace silicates, though, as like the predominant glass going forward.
So Valerie's asking a similar question. How do you see the best application for silicate versus non-silicate glasses? Do you see the latter replacing the former?
From what I see, I think we're going to see new silicate glasses with improved properties that will replace existing silicate glasses for both existing applications and new applications. Silicate glasses have a number of really strong advantages that are difficult to overcome, especially things like their optical transparency, their strength, and the ability to be strengthened. Their corrosion resistance is outstanding compared to almost any other family of glass. So I think, and also the low cost. I mean, the fact that the raw materials are some of the most abundant raw materials found in the earth. it's going to be difficult to overcome those advantages with other glass families. So I think we need to see what are some of the areas where silicate glasses are less appropriate, and then find and then consider those as being prime opportunities for other types of non-silicate or non-oxide glasses.
So Tom Fritz and let's see here. There's a couple questions coming in. Ron Stein around battery and energy. So, so glass used. Is there an opportunity for it to be used in kind of power storage or power transmission? And what's kind of the future of glass and batteries?
Okay, great. So power storage, yes. So glass batteries are being developed now, where you've got either sodium, lithium, or proton electrolyte within the glassy matrix. So various groups are working on this now. There's some really exciting research that's being done, for example, at Hokkaido University in Japan, which is based on having protons as the electrolytes. And basically they make a glass that's a sodium containing glass and then do a sodium for proton exchange. And none of these are at the level yet where they're going to displace current battery technologies, but they're heading in the direction that would improve energy storage density, improve safety compared to liquid state batteries, and also hopefully improve the ability for batteries to be recharged over many more cycles compared to current traditional batteries. For power transmission, I don't see glasses playing a role there for power transmission. They're outstanding for transmission of light, and for you could use optical fiber to bring outside light into indoors, for example, but they would not be suitable materials for transmission of electricity, for example. They are, however, very good materials for generating electricity, for example, with some of those like windmills and photovoltaics and solar thermal. So some of those examples I gave where glass can play a key role in renewable energy generation and in storage, but not so much in transmission.
All right, this next question is on behalf of cell phone users everywhere. Can you speak to the proliferation of Gorilla Glass and similar products, particularly in electronics, and what do you see as the next generation? Specifically, I would like to know, are you going to develop a glass that doesn't crack when I drop my cell phone?
So the sad truth is they could make those devices right now, but so as glass scientists, we are continuing to improve glasses by enhancing their strength through composition design and through the chemical strengthening process. We also introduced this concept of glasses with native damage resistance, where they can actually start to deform plastically under an incoming insult compared to just cracking the way normal glasses would do. So there have been a lot of advances in the glass chemistry design and the processing and this introduction of intrinsic damage resistance. That being said, cell phone manufacturers also value the thinness of their products. And so oftentimes when some advantage of the glass is introduced, the cell phone manufacturers will trade that off to have a device that has the same level of reliability as what they did before, but now it's thinner. And a lot of this comes down to the device design too. So things like finite element modeling can be used to consider the entire device stack, and like if you drop the phone, where do the largest stresses get developed? But the truth is that the device manufacturers actually plan for a certain fraction to break. Sorry.
Oh no, it makes absolute sense to try to get you to buy the next generation of iPhone or whichever phone you happen to use. You touched a little bit on the availability of silica and its abundance, but can you say a little bit about sustainability in the glass industry and in the glass community, and efforts that you are taking to have more sustainable production and usage?
Absolutely. So glass has a lot of good things when it comes to sustainability, but also a couple of bad things. So on the positive side, most glasses that are manufactured are using very commonly available raw materials, things like soda ash and limestone and sand. So things where we don't have to worry about scarcity of those raw materials. Also on the plus side, glasses are infinitely recyclable. So any glass product that you want to throw away, don't throw it away. We can recycle that. It can be remelted and made into a new glass product, and there's no loss in quality. And in fact, using recycled glass actually improves the quality of the subsequent products that are made afterwards. So please, please, please recycle. Challenges are that people don't recycle. So Europe tends to be very good for recycling compared to the rest of the world, including the United States. They recycle at a much higher rate than we do here. So there are certainly public policy challenges and kind of just getting the systems in place to make it easier for people to recycle, so they do it as second nature rather than having to think about it as some sort of extra chore. So that is a huge opportunity. Also, reducing the melting temperatures associated with glass processing is important to reduce the energy consumption. Oh, and by the way, another important thing about recycling is not only reducing the amount of glass that ends up in landfills, but for every glass that you add to the glass melting tank to make the next product, that reduces the amount of carbonates that you need to use as the batch materials. So soda ash and limestone are both carbonates. And when you melt them, they release carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. But if you use already existing glass, that carbon dioxide emission has already happened. And so you don't get any additional carbon dioxide emission from the melting itself. The carbon footprint then is just due to the energy that's used to bring it up to that temperature. But right now, close to half of the carbon dioxide emission is from the release of carbon dioxide from soda ash and limestone, and that can be eliminated by recycling.
It's interesting, plastic was developed as a glass alternative, right, in terms of for containers. Do you see that coming full circle because of how problematic plastic is to recycle?
So there's always there's a tension there between the plastics industry and the glass industry. For one of the advantages of plastics, well, two advantages. One is that they're extremely lightweight compared to glasses, and that they have a much higher toughness compared to glasses, meaning they're actually quite a bit weaker than glasses, but because of their high toughness, they will be less likely to fracture and break if you drop them. So glass is trying to take back some of what plastic has initially taken from glass by addressing some of these issues of the mechanical integrity and trying to also lightweight some of the products by reducing wall thickness and so on. So I don't think that one class of material is going to completely win out over the other. I think that there's a really big place for both plastics and for glasses going forward. The plastics industry faces the same challenges as the glass industry when it comes to recycling. Please recycle your plastics as well. And but they have an additional problem with the raw materials, many of which are derived from petroleum, which is a non-renewable source. So that is an additional challenge for plastic. So we'll have to see how things evolve. And of course, a lot of this is driven by economics as well, and that the material that has the better value proposition is going to be the one that ultimately wins out in the end. And I think that you're going to see plastics and glasses continue to play an important role going forward.
We have time for 2 or 3 more questions. Let me dive into some more about the composition. So Luis wants to know, do borosilicate glasses generally benefit more from calcium oxide than magnesium oxide in their composition?
So it depends on what it is that you're trying to do. Magnesium oxide tends to be better than calcium oxide when it comes to increasing the stiffness of the glass, so in increasing the Young's modulus, for example. But it's difficult to get as much magnesium into the glass compared to calcium because you'll start to get devitrification earlier with magnesium. Oftentimes you can play a game of mixing the alkaline earths together to tailor the properties more precisely that way. And also it helps to destabilize some of the crystalline phases from forming that are either magnesium phase or a calcium phase. And let me just throw zinc into there too, because zinc structurally plays a very similar role as magnesium and has a similar impact on properties. And if you kind of mix those various divalent cations together, you can help to suppress crystallization and get better tailored properties.
It's interesting. Interesting question here. Is it possible to make glass gas permeable while still being transparent and strong?
Oh, okay. So it depends on the gas, because permeability to hydrogen or helium is very different than permeability to larger molecules of gas. So that's the number one question that would need to be addressed. For really small molecules, you could make a very thin glass that is designed to have a more open structure, like a high silica glass or a borate glass that has a lot of threefold coordinated boron, that if you can control some of the open spaces in the network and make it thin enough, that might be suitable for permeability of very small gas molecules. For larger ones, you would really need to go to a more microstructured glass. So this is something where you could design the microstructure, for example, through spinodal decomposition, where you've got kind of two interconnected networks of glass and then etch out one of them to leave this kind of tortuous pathway that the gas can follow, or you could coat it with some sort of catalyst to have this high surface area catalytic surface. But that would be at the expense of optical transparency in that case, because of all the interfaces that you have to go through. I don't think you would be able to make that transparent, because you have to have air as the second phase, and there's no way that you'd get the refractive index of the glass down to be the same as that of air. So I think it really depends on the gas in question.
Mark wants to know, given all the current and future uses of glass, what is the best way to invest in the technology for one's personal portfolio? I know I will use the disclaimer that you are not a financial planning or an investment expert.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when you consider the glass industry, there's the glass industry itself, and then there's the consumers of the glass industry. So, for example, where I worked at Corning, that's one of the prominent American glass manufacturers. But then you have companies that purchase the glass, companies like Apple, for example, or automotive companies like GM or Ford, or pharmaceutical companies like Merck. And so all of that is part of the greater galaxy of glass. And what I've seen in my career is that certain parts of the glass industry can have ups or downs depending upon what's happening with those particular business things. So, for example, the fiberglass insulation business basically goes with the housing market. If people are building new homes, then they're buying fiberglass insulation, and that would help, for example, Owens Corning as a fiberglass manufacturing company. If we are, let's suppose, in the middle of a pandemic and people buy a lot of glass vials for pharmaceuticals, that's going to be good for the companies that make that. But that's kind of completely separate from the fiberglass market for architecture. So I think you really need to consider the end application, and consider how those particular industries may be, where they are in their cycles, and then go backwards from there to see what are the glass companies that are contributing to that? Because I don't think you're going to see like an overall trend of the entire glass industry because it's so diversified.
So John, we are out of time today. There are a lot more questions that are coming in that we don't have time to get to, but if people want more information about the work that you're doing or want to get in touch with you, where can they go for that information?
They can email me, so jcm426@psu.edu, or they can go to my website, which is sites.psu.edu/glass. And I try to be very responsive to my email, so you're welcome to email me if you have any further questions or would like to discuss.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank Dr. Mauro for joining us. I also want to thank you all who tuned in to today's virtual speaker series. Thank you for your support. As a reminder, you can view a full listing of all of our events online and in person at alumni.psu.edu/events. Thanks again, and we are
Penn State. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.